it. Our teacher returned to his earth wall to the ground.
Maybe.
I am unable to wield the wind attribute. What do you think? I asked Claire excitedly. Don't look so self-satisfied. Why does it look like me? Water slimes have a custom imitating appearances of beautiful women.
It seems like Claire is enjoying being close with Thane.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yep. In the end, it said that she had asked her how it was to have her head stroked by Thane, and her response was explicit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, that's not what we want to have more of.
I'm
That's
sure there are some people.
Yeah, that ship Claire with Thane.
I'm sure.
I mean
people
she's
ship
into
stuff.
him at this point in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Ray is kind of pushing it.
Yeah, well, I mean, she wants to have more of Claire stuff, so yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you want to pull up some of our comments from last time?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. On the way. Usually we do this first, but
well, you know.
they're coming up now.
Nope, not that one. There it is.
There it is. And she said, "Take me to task." Okay. And the last video was an hour and 12 minutes.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, there's a lot going on in the story. Excuse me.
There is a lot going on in the story.
Let's see.
All right. Oh, there's quite a bit that you all had to say.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, Michaela _ZC. My headcanon for Rod is that he's gay. Doesn't actually like Ray that way. Just looked at her and said, "Ah, a fellow homosexual," and wanted to hang out. To be clear, there's nothing in the text that supports this. That's just the thing I tell myself to make his personality bearable. Yeah. And another one for Michaela is, I love you and Misha so much. They sort of become the secondary pairing that we follow aside from Ray and Claire. You really is the perfect prince, perhaps too perfect. Any other you want to read?
Let me see here. There's a few.
Okay.
Assassin Cat 492. One thing I'd like to mention about Claire's minions is that they're actually her friends, and Ray simply sees them as her minions. This is shown in the Claire book, She's So Cheeky for a Commoner. Another thing that Rod, by second volume, recognizes pride in his nobility is bit too much and improves himself.
Well, I'll be interested to see that.
Edit. Claire's roommate is shown in She's So Cheeky for a Commoner. Also, the eldest daughter thing is basically just another way of saying heir. She's really an only child.
Okay. So she is an only child. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's see what else we got here. Orlando Bloom's 7626. Is it true that Ray is a true villainess? After Claire keeps dying, so she used to time leap to save Claire over and over till her feelings started to fade away, till Ray became Demon Queen and wiped out all existing forms of life.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness gracious. Let's see here. Oh, I like this one from Ginger Cat. Underscore. Okay. The difference between the game and this being a world probably means that Ray will come across situations that she has no knowledge of or different from what she expects. How she is interacting with the world means that any changes she makes, deliberately or by accident, will have a ripple effect into the future. Her pursuit of Claire has already created a difference in the world compared to the original game.
True. She's an anomaly.
She's an anomaly for sure. And I could have sworn there was something here. Let's see. Blue Butterfly 015. The talk about villains at the end got me thinking. There are a few antagonists or villains in the story, but I do think in many ways throughout the series, Ray can be her own worst enemy. The Scales of Love arc with Manaria does call some of it to attention. I suppose it's a bit true of Claire herself, since she's aware of her personality and how others view her, but I suppose she's too prideful to change. I mean, that very well could be, for sure.
Yeah, we don't know how she's gonna develop because we only watched the anime.
Yeah.
And got to that part of the story.
Oh, and this one really, I really, from Sonia, 8345. Again, reading the light novel with you is fun. I feel as if I'm listening to an audiobook, and I'm a fan of listening to novels and good books in audio versions as well as audio plays.
Yeah, when we first read this, KB was like, look at this message that we got. This is so nice. She was like really touched that you had said that.
Yeah, I just want you to pay attention to one simple thing, consider it while reading. And it's that Ray said herself that there's some things that she herself didn't know about because the game story didn't dive deep into it. So she's reincarnated to a world of her favorite dating sim game. Oh, apparently it's like, no thank you. Hold on 1 second.
The page went away.
The page just had some issues. Tech issues are so wonderful. Well, quite frankly, I do not need these right now anyway. So there's that.
Clearing out other stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it back up. That's not nice. Don't do that to Sonia.
I know.
Rude.
Come back, Sonia.
All right, let me grab it again.
Okay.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah, that was rude, YouTube. Thank you for doing that, by the way. Okay.
They're loading like one at a time.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So self-just no, because the game story didn't dive deep. Okay. For favorite dating sim game, she thought she knew everything, but there are some things that can be unknown, even to a heroine in the game.
Ooh,
I'm like really excited, obviously, to chart into unknown territory.
Yeah.
Because obviously we know. I think someone had said in another video that a comment was that the anime stops in the second volume of chapter 2. So then after that, it's just like unknown, completely unknown.
Yeah.
And I truth, like I've said this before multiple times about anomalies, but Ray is an anomaly. Ray, she is in this world that she's not programmed to be into, and she's causing things to happen. We see that in the anime.
Yeah.
So it'll be curious to see what happens in this for sure. Thinking of Ray, the true villainess, I'd be like, that's an interesting thought, though.
Yeah.
Interesting thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh. So that being said, I'm Jenny.
KB.
And we are going to be reading
More of the I'm in Love with the Villainess, Volume 1. Wherever the bookmark is. Page 80?
right here.
Oh.
There's like diamonds.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
Do you need more light?
No.
Okay.
Hey, Ray. Are you what they call gay?
Oh.
Misha dropped this bombshell on me
I
while
was
eating
wondering when we were going to get to this.
Claire and Lene choked.
Oh.
Let's see here. Misha, asking a question like that has no good outcome.
No good outcome.
Misha, I don't think this is something you should ask in public. Both Claire and Lene were telling her to change the subject.
Oh.
I don't mind, I said. Do you want to hear my answer? As your best friend, yes. It touched me that she'd go to the trouble of asking outright, even if it might make things somewhat awkward. I said. Well, I'm not sure, but probably. I've never had a special kind of feeling for a guy.
How did she doesn't know? I like
So,
how she's like,
yeah, I guess that's
Like,
like a big difference in the anime, because in the anime she outright was like, hey, yeah, I like girls.
yeah.
Right? Claire inched away from me when I said this. I inched towards her the same amount that she inched away. In turn, she inched away that same amount again.
Wow.
Why are you moving away from me? I asked. Because I'm afraid of what you'll do to me. But I'm not going to do anything. I wonder. I was used to this kind of reaction. My previous world often portrayed gay people as aggressively targeting all members of the same gender, making it common for people to say, well, don't hit on me once they found out you were gay. That is so freaking true. Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, if it wasn't obvious, when I came out to friends of mine, the girl that's were friends of mine, were like, well, just, you don't like me, right? And I'm like, yeah, not like that.
There's
You're fine.
there's no right answer to that question, by the way.
Yeah, there really isn't. But
Yeah.
then after that, I would get thwapped on the shoulder and be like, why don't you? And I'm like,
Right? That.
what even is that? So, yeah.
Right.
Poor
So it's
Ray.
like if you say yes, then they're like, ew, I'm not like that. I mean, we're talking typically. And then if you say no, it's like, well, why not? What's wrong with me that you wouldn't like me? And it's like,
yeah. And then when you're damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? You say you
Yeah.
don't, you get hit. You say you do just to get them off your back, they get offended. And you're just like,
Yeah.
why are you offended no matter what I say? Well, why? What's wrong with me? You're straight? And no.
right.
It's like, no, I'm good.
I remember, like, when I was in college, we hung out a lot, the people, because I went to a wellness dorm, I was in a wellness program, and our whole floor was in this, like, group together, right?
Yeah.
And one of the girls, like, I guess I had said something like, oh, that's so cute, or something like that.
Mhm.
And she told one of the other girls that she thought that I was into her because I said something about her was cute. And I'm just like, don't girls say that? Like,
Girls
oh,
are
that's
just
cute.
like that in general.
I
That's what I
know.
thought. I mean, I definitely
I
had more
know.
guy friends than the girls that were friends, but it always got on my nerves
Mhm.
when you're like, say no, and then that girl gets upset, and you're like, bro,
Yeah.
like, what's wrong?
And interestingly, like I already had been out for a while
Mhm.
by then, but I actually wasn't interested in her like that. I just thought maybe it was something she said or something she was wearing or something that I thought was cute, or maybe a
Yeah.
combo of like, oh, you
Right,
look cute
right.
today, and like, oh, what you said is cute. Like it could be a combo of different things that I found cute, and she was like, oh, like that's clearly homosexual. And I'm like, you think that's homosexual behavior? You should have seen my summer before this.
And the thing too is that also like one of my friends had tried to set me up with a dude, so poor person. And then I was like, oh yeah, I said, oh yeah, well, you know, I'm gay, and she's like, oh, and then she got back and said, well, I'm not, and I'm like, I didn't think you were. Like it's a weird thing
Let's
because
just be clear.
generally speaking, I mean, a lot of my friends that were more into, you know, guys or whatever, they were just like, I said to her, you don't expect me to tell every guy you look at you like him, right? Like, come on, why would you assume every single girl I look at, I'm like, oh yeah, I like her too, and her as well. And it's just like such a ridiculous. So yeah, I can definitely relate on that. So for sure.
Yeah.
Once they found that you were gay, this world didn't have the same range of media minded, but queerness was depicted much the same way in music and fiction. And that was why I was surprised by Misha's reaction. Miss Claire, you're being prejudiced. I might even say discriminatory.
Ooh,
What? Why?
Misha is
Think
going
about
for it.
You are heterosexual, are you not? Of course.
Of course. Yeah.
And you like Master Thane, right? I chimed in.
I just had a crush on Minari when I was younger, but I'm totally heterosexual.
Oh, for sure. Ray, don't interrupt. Shut up for a minute, Claire snapped. She looked genuinely angry with me. I held my tongue. How would you feel if a boy told you, don't hit on me, Misha continued. How dare he think me so desperate? Huh? Exactly, but that's exactly how you're treating Ray.
Ooh.
Oh. Claire looked shocked despite herself. Misha had a surprising level-headed and balanced perspective on things. Queer people only differed from others in their preferences. They weren't any more lustful than other people, and they didn't indiscriminately pursue sex or romance.
It depends on the queer person. I mean, obviously, some people are more into sex than others, but same is true of hetero people. We're all different.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that Ray happens
to
like
I guess that
women
is
too.
I guess that is what it said, though. Is that they're not any more so than others. Okay, you can repeat that part.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that Ray happens to like women too, I suppose, Lene said. It just means gender is irrelevant to romance for her. That's not right, I said, huh? Gender is relevant. Really? Bisexual people existed for one, and those who identified as gay or lesbian might consider themselves to not be attracted to the particular gender so much as a particular person. Well, it was complicated, but now that I thought about it, I personally wasn't into men. Gender was definitely relevant to me.
Now that I thought about it, all of a sudden now I realized it.
I see. I suppose I really don't know much about these things. Well, that's normal. There isn't much opportunity to learn. Queer people were still overwhelmingly closeted in this world, which was a rifle with prejudice and nurtured with little understanding. As I noted, the queer people depicted in the story were either the sex fiends Claire imagined or the free-loving sort Lene had in mind. Diversity and acceptance were a long way off. Is there any objectable behavior I ought to change? Lene asked. No, not really. I'm just happy to dote on Claire every day, I said. It's because you're always saying those sorts of things that I'm worried, Claire whined. Perhaps that was true, but if I was overstepping boundaries, then that was my bad. But the fact of the matter was, Japanese entertainers in my past life had often used sexuality as part of their brand despite the discrimination they faced. That was probably why I acted this way. Interesting.
Wait, can you read that part again?
Sure. Perhaps that was true, and if I was overstepping boundaries, that was my bad. But the fact of the matter was, Japanese entertainers in my past life had often used their sexuality as part of their brand despite the discrimination they faced.
Interesting.
That was probably why I acted this way. Then again, I just can't live without poking fun at you, I said. But I was laughing alone. Ray, you... Misha gave me an anxious look. Ugh, that's exactly why I hadn't really want to talk about this. It's okay. I'm used to my love not being requited. It was true. No matter whom I had feelings for, they never liked me back. But there was nothing to be done about that. No one I felt for was in the wrong for not returning my interest. I was just unlucky. Besides, it wasn't just queer people who experienced frustration in love. I glanced up at Lene. Oh, snap! The foreshadowing! The foreshadowing! What is it, Ray? No, it's nothing.
So you've given up Miss Claire then, Ray? Misha asked. Let's see. You really are trying to cover everything today, aren't you, Misha? I'm sorry for making you uncomfortable. No, that's not the case. Well, I guess I have to give up in a way, but another way also happened. What does that mean? Lena asked. I don't expect Miss Claire to return my feelings. Miss Claire is interested in someone else, and I want to support that. I'm happy just being near her, but even so... But what? Now Claire joined in the questioning me. But even so, I think it would be almost impossible to just completely give up on you, Miss Claire. I teased, laughing again. No one else laughed this time either. I needed to stop. At any rate, Miss Claire, please continue to act the way you always have. I'm quite happy with our current arrangement. I see. Of course you're welcome to fall in love with me anytime as well. I will not. Of course you won't. Thanks to Claire's immediate rejection, the mood returned to normal. That was perfect. All we had to do was keep the status quo. Okay, let's change the subject, I said. Oh, Miss Claire, shall we have our daily makeout session?
Our daily makeout session.
I will not. I have never. There you go again. It's not that bad, you know.
Oh my gosh.
Wait till you're in bed to talk. Wait till you're in bed to talk in your sleep, Claire retorted. The serious talk had finally ended. I teased Claire. Claire got angry. Lene soothed her, and Misha watched it all happen with a resigned look. Things were back to normal. Normal, and always felt like a tiny little bit bitter about it. In my past life, there were a number of LGBTQ activists who had criticized entertainers using their flamboyant sexuality as a selling point on TV. I think their criticism was likely on point, but here's what else I think. Without going so far to say it's the right or wrong to do so, some people out there can't live their lives without making light of their problems. Of course, these entertainers were contributing to homophobia stereotypes, and of course, I'd prefer it if we could eliminate homophobia altogether.
I'm kind of, I guess, a little bit confused.
She's just talking...
So she's saying that the performers are using their own sexuality to get ahead, but it is their sexuality.
Right.
But she thinks that that's promoting stereotypes?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I would eliminate homophobia together, but some queer people living in the real world will so inevitably act in ways that highlight the prejudices they experience. Maybe they'll have other reasons for acting the way they do, but I think the need to lampshade their problems is one of them. Some people can't live with their burdens without cracking wise about them. When you're queer and you fall in love with someone who can never respond to your feelings in kind, they often still behave more intimately with you than they would with someone of the opposite sex. But after the moment you realize you're in love with them, that just makes them feel even further away. If you run into this problem again and again before you realize it, you might become the kind of person who could only helplessly laugh the whole thing off.
So now she's saying that if you, like, let's say, are a lesbian and you fall in love with a woman, then... What is she saying about that? That you'll still be close with them? And then...
But once you realize you actually want to be with them, they're farther away from you than they could have been before.
Okay,
That's what she's saying. She's protecting her. She, in a way, is trying to protect herself, right?
Okay.
Not everyone has to end up like that, of course. It just happens that I had. Miss Claire? What is it? You hate me, right? It was my usual question. I never asked her if she liked me. I couldn't. I already know the answer. Of course I do. Yeah, I know. And we continued as usual. Even if she didn't get me, even if my feelings were unrequited, I liked Claire. There was no future for us. I knew that. But even so, I couldn't help hoping. It would be so much easier if I just fell in love with another lesbian, I thought to myself. But love was something you fell into. You didn't get to choose whom you loved. Romance really was troublesome. Magic was state-of-the-art technology in this world. If this were Japan, magic would be the IT sector, and magic tools would be cutting-edge home appliances. Of course, these things weren't limited to home use in the Burger Kingdom. Magic and magic tools saw widespread use in the government and military. Like I said before, magical advancement and expertise were what distinguished a country in this age. Our magic class was conducted on an athletic field outside of the academy, boarding a wood. We stood in a loose group as our teacher took his place before us. A magic stone is the core element of magic tool. Our teacher pointed the tip of a magic wand, the most basic magic tool, which a stone of mysteriously indistinct color was embedded. Magical stones produce various phenomena in reaction to a wielder's magical power. In general, the larger, the purer the stone, the greater the intensity of the associated phenomena. The mining and the sale of magic tools, or magic stones, were managed by the government in every country. In the Burr Kingdom, Lene's family, the whatever her last name is, company had been tasked with mining and distribution of these stones under the king's orders. That put them in significant position of power. Now then, everyone, please create a magic bullet and send it towards your target. Following the teacher's instructions, everyone started sending their magic bullets at the target, which was about 75 feet away. This was mainly a form of combat magic. It was too weak for military use, but it did come in handy for self-defense, which didn't just mean protection from human criminals. Monsters are weak against core magical stones. Each tribute has specifically comparabilities and therefore 4 combinations that are specifically effective. Yep, this world had monsters too. The monsters had appeared at the same as the discovery of the first magical stones. The general accepted theory was that animals turned into monsters when they consumed said stones. Once they transformed, their strength skyrocketed and their forms changed. Some are no longer even recognizably linked to animals, instead resembling fairy tale creatures.
Ooh.
Ray, you haven't been paying attention. Are you alright? Misha was eyeing me with a strange look on her face. Misha, I'd been daydreaming.
Oh.
Even a dual caster like you shouldn't neglect her studies. Yes, you're right. Deciding to get serious about my magic bullet practice, I aimed at a target and waved my wand. A black and blue magic bullet flew forth. Color resembling shoots of magic. Black for earth, blue for water, red for fire, and white for wind. Generally, the darker the color, the stronger the magical power. The magical bullet I fired flew in a straight line, hitting the thick wooden target and shattering into pieces. Silence felt. Oh. Everyone's eyes pierced me like needles. Apparently, I'd underestimated my power. I looked regretfully at the target, which was busted beyond repair. The target right next to that one I broke and caught fire and fell to pieces. This time it was Claire who demolished it. Don't try to show off. You don't need to be a dual caster to do that. Claire lifted her chin to laugh. Miss Claire, what is it? You're so cool. Please marry me. Why would I do that?
That was one of the first moments that we saw in the first trailer when she goes, marry me! And we had no idea, like, the context of it, so we were like, is this love at first sight?
Yeah,
What is it?
yeah.
But I remember that, marry me!
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Hey now, keep your wits about you.
Actually, no, I think that part that we saw was from, like, when she first sees Claire.
I could have been.
That's what I think. I think.
Magic is dangerous when used responsibly. Pay close attention to when wielding it, the teacher gently reprimanded us. I'd earned it. This was my bet. I'm sorry. Please excuse me, Claire apologized, bowing her head low. The teacher, a middle-aged man, was named Mr. Torrid. While his attributes were only in the medium rank, he was the only confirmed tricaster in the kingdom.
Ooh.
And its real scholar of magic, the Bar Kingdom had started a step behind other countries when it came to magical research. They dominated the surrounding countries in the military strength, and this had made them complacent, leading them to underestimate the values of new magic technology until the best research had all been enticed to other countries. Even after the king came up with his magic-focused meteocratic policy, Briar lagged behind. That was when Mr. Torrid burst...
Meritocratic?
Yeah, that. That was when Mr. Torrid burst into the scene like a comet. The reigning basic theories of magic, mining magic stones, the development of magic tools, and the very foundations of magical technology in this kingdom had been determined by Mr. Torrid, who had always been awarded the status of a knight for his contribution. Claire, who respected the excellence, admired him deeply. It looks like you got a hand of the magic wand and bullets. Let's move on to the systemic magic. Mr. Torrid got to class attention by clapping his hands loudly. Magic relies heavily on the individual's innate ability, but also depends on their attributes. With that, he aimed the palm of his hand at the target. The earth around it rose to form a wall. Earth magic is mainly used for defense. Building a wall is a basic skill. Some talented mages can even erect entire castle ramparts. Next, he threw a flame bullet at Earth wall. The earthen wall dried, cracked, and part of it tumbled down. Fire magic is primarily deployed for combat. Basic use include shooting fire arrows and bullets, and more advanced examples will be creating a sea of flames. Finally, Mr. Torrid approached the wall of Earth and put his hand on a missing section. The wall rebuilt itself before our eyes, as if time had been turned back. Water magic is principally called for recovery. It can be used to cure wounds and diseases. They say extremely skilled wielders can even regenerate lost body parts, though no one's ever raised the dead. You know, that's really interesting that you say that.
That no one's ever raised the dead?
Yeah. I don't know. I might just be overthinking it. Our teacher returned to his earth wall to the ground.
Maybe.
I am unable to wield the wind attribute, but it is mainly used to supporting a role. When combined with fire magic, an attack is made stronger. When combined with water magic, recovery is faster, and so on. However, be careful. It is not quite as comparable with its opposing attribute Earth. The lecture complete, Mr. Torrid instructed us to try what he had shown us while he conferred separately with the wind attributing students. Misha, who had a higher level wind attribute, was first in line to consult the teacher. Let's see here. Who is this? Oh, I don't know. Hey, no, it's probably... Hey, Ray.
It's probably Rod.
Well, you's here, too.
Oh, you.
Good morning. Good morning, Master Rod. Master Yu. As the princess approached, I looked for Thane and saw he was by Mr. Torrid. That was right. He had wind attributes, too. Let's see here. Why? I don't know who this is. It hurts when I don't know.
Let's just guess that it's Rod.
You sure didn't pull your punches on the target. It was exactly what we expected. We're not very good at magic, so we're a bit jealous. I didn't exactly dislike being praised by the princes, but there was someone whose compliments I much preferred. Miss Claire? What is it? I'm busy right now. Don't you have any praise for me? What brought this all of a sudden? Claire frowned with a look of resignation. At our interaction, Rod and then you chuckled. You guys really are close. That isn't remotely true. I don't remember even accepting this person as a friend.
Oh.
What do you think about that, Ray? This is exactly why I love Miss Claire. That's
Oh.
enough. Claire looked exhausted. Are you all right? I asked. And if I'm not, whose fault is that? It's mine. I'm sorry. I love you.
Oh.
Another day, another episode arguing like an old married couple. At least in my mind. That was when we heard a scream. The monster was transparent and amorphous. Like
Oh.
one of those slime monsters you meet in role-playing games, but nearly 30 feet tall and much scarier. Its surface was pale blue and spongy, and within its transparent body floated a magical stone, just like Mr. Tord had described. Slowly but surely, it rolled towards us across the field.
Her gamer side is coming out.
Yeah!
Like a role-playing game.
Yeah! It's a water slime and it's big! Someone called out. Water slimes were medium threat monsters, meaning they could be defeated by 5 or 6 combatants working in on concrete. Or, yeah, concert. Oh, in concert. Interesting. However, this water slime was unusually large, the large size of a small house. Most people thought slimes are cute little creatures, but they were by no means weak. Physical attacks were pointless, and those who recklessly got too close could be swallowed whole.
Oh.
Everyone, get back! Mr. Torrid moved in front of us, magic wand in hand. He threw a quick firebomb, but it fizzled on the slime's surface, leaving no injuries of consequence. Even so, he threw a second and a third firebomb, keeping his slime focus on him. Ray, you get back too. Misha grabbed my arm to try to get me to evacuate the area with her, but I shrugged her off and rushed to Mr. Torrid's side. You, hurry up and get out of here!
Oh.
That monster's a water attribute. You can't use wind, right? Wind was the most effective counterattack against water. It was like rock, paper, scissors. Fire beats earth, earth beats wind, and wind beats water, and
Wait,
water beats fire.
Can you read that again? Okay.
Fire beats earth,
Fire beats earth. Okay.
earth beats wind,
Earth beats wind.
wind
Okay.
beats water,
Wind beats water.
and water beats fire.
And water beats fire. Not that I'm gonna remember that, but they each have something that
Yeah,
beats the other.
the elements
Okay.
generally do. Like, one's more
Mhm.
powerful than the other. So this is pretty common for me to be like, oh, okay, I got you.
Mhm.
Breathe it as it may. I must hold it off now. Let me help you. I thrust my wand forward to deploy my magic and generate a wall of earth around the slime. Goodness, the ability to erect such a mighty wall in an instant. I can't believe you're a beginner.
Oh.
She's impressing the teacher. Is this what you think?
Ah.
Teacher, please tell the others to use their magic attack. Oh, yes. Mr. Tord called out to the rest of the class and instructed them to attack with all their might. Fire! At his command, the storm of magical bullets were arrowed and rained down on the slime. Despite the variation in the projectile size, due to the differences in skill, the sheer number was impressive. One after another, the bullets hit the slime and it started to emit smoke. Did we do it?
Ooh.
Blah! The slime was alive and well, though I
That's
had
a
no
no.
idea where its mouth was. It let out a high-pitched scream that echoed fiercely, forcing the students to cower and freeze. This was an ability monsters had, reference to quality as a hateful cry. Ah, yes.
Ooh.
Ugh. Mr. Tord and I were fine, but this was strange. In my head, I figured I'd immobilize the monsters and have everyone attack. But the battle would be over. Since I was dual caster, I was also able to wreck walls and attack with magic at the same time, but I was already using my earth attributes for defense, and my other water was the same as the slimes. It wouldn't do any good in this situation. I didn't know what else to do. Let's retreat. Leave her to the army. We can't. Some students have been paralyzed. We can't leave them. Ugh.
Aw.
Incidentally, when this event occurred in the game, a hero swooped in to save the heroine. When this monster was about to attack her, the game presented the player with 3 names, and they selected the one to call for help. The options were Rod, you, Thane. Well, I wasn't about to call any of those. Rod, you, Thane, Claire. It's like
Oh,
um,
you gotta angle
there
it a
you go.
little. Yeah. She's at the bottom, and then it says next to it.
It says
"New!"
new!
with the exclamation
Miss
point.
Claire, save us! Oh, Claire surprised my call. She couldn't move. Had also been affected by the hateful cry. This was
Oh.
bad. Hang on, Claire Francois. Thane shook Claire's shoulders. Thane, who was often thought of as incompetent because of his 2 brothers, actually had the highest
Aw.
aptitude for magic of the 3,
Ooh.
meaning he recovered more swiftly from the effects of the hateful cry.
Oh,
Thane,
that's why.
I swear I'll support you. Attack the slime with everything you've got. It's okay. You can do this. Thane's attributes were wind, but he
Oh.
was a support magic specialist. Another reason why his route wasn't as popular as his brothers. If he could support Claire's magic, though, her attack would be fantastically effective.
Oh.
It wasn't a big deal or anything, but looking at this shattered moment, I kind of wish the developers had included the heroine when putting together such potentially moving scene.
Aw.
I got it! Strength returned to Claire's eyes. She stood tall, facing down the slime together with Thane. Okay. Ha! Claire fired a magic spear, perhaps due to the love she felt for Thane. The flaming weapon was
Aw.
exceptionally large. Enchanted wind! As Thane cast his magic, the color of the flame sphere changed. Wind magic could combine with a spell that changed attributes. It was an advanced implementation, but Thane and his royal brothers had been practicing magic since they were children.
Oh.
The supersized magical wind sphere tore
yeah.
a huge hole through the massive slime, which screamed as it melted and collapsed.
Oh,
It
wow.
worked. Mr. Tord breathed a sigh of relief. Recovering from the paralysis of the hateful cry, the students started to calling out belated appreciation. Amazing, Miss Claire! How could you feast a fearsome monster? Claire's entourage rushed to her side. They weren't alone. Everyone heaped praise on Claire, who looked bashful but smiled happily. Only one person slowly peeled himself away from the crowd. It was Thane.
Oh.
He played a key role in the Slime's defeat, but it was hard for amateurs to comprehend the degree to which he'd contributed.
Oh.
Mr. Torrid could, of course, but at that moment he was scanning the air for monsters. One person did, however, run up to Thane. Claire, she escaped from the crowd, calling out to Thane, "Master Thane!" He didn't answer, though. He turned to Claire's voice, looking like it was the last thing he wanted to do. Thank you very much. I never could have bested him without you. That's not true. You would have been fine, even without me. But Thane's blank expression softened for a moment. You did a good job. With those words, a little smile, and he stroked Claire's hair. Thank you. Claire stiffened in surprise and then relaxed, smiled more genuinely than I'd ever seen her smile. What in the world was I doing in the middle of this romantic comedy? Oh, there she is. I crouched down on the field. I had wandered off from the group as well. I was in search for something quite small. Before my eyes was a tiny drop of water, only a fraction of the size of a massive water slime. We just defeated. When I held out my hand, it quivered on a blade of grass. This was a massive water slime's baby. She attacked us because of a fire arrow and missed its target and hit her when she was passing by with her baby. In other words, she'd been attacking in self-defense.
Oh, there you go.
It's okay. Come on now. I gently cradled the baby slime. It's interesting though, because in the anime, there were twig snap, and they never did touch Claire's head again. So in the manga, in the white novel, she actually did, and Renee's like, I'm done with this.
Okay.
Me too, Renee.
Oh.
I gently cradled the baby slime with both hands. She was shivering, probably still scared. It was possible to tame monsters if you shared a tribute with them, which was this case here. Monsters that had been tamed were called familiars. Here, I'll make you my familiar. You can sign the contract here. With a gentle finger, I touched the magic stone at the slime's core and felt the pulse of my magic into it. At that, the core changed from blue to gold, the sign of familiar. I'm so sorry about your mom, but it's okay. I'll be your mom now. I stroked the surface of the slime. It was cold and a little wriggly like gelatin. I'll have to think of a name for you. So I said, but I already decided on the name way back when I was playing Revolution. Your name is Relaire. Ray and Claire together made Relaire. I thought it was a fantastic name. Let's be friends, Relaire. Relaire made herself quiver again as if in reply. Peasant, where did you go? When I got back to class for some reason, Claire was angry. I was just taking care of something. I slipped Relaire into my pocket. I figured I would introduce her to everyone eventually, but this wasn't a good time. I wanted to go home, but I didn't see you, so we had to stay and look for you, Claire complained. Sorry. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I thought Claire would go on and on about her disgust at my insensitive peasant behavior, but there were no further jibes. I wonder why for a moment there, but then, well, you did quite well for a commoner. Huh? I'm saying you faced the monster well. Oh my, is it flirting time then? Finally? It is not! What is flirting time?
What is flirting time?
That just sounds horrible! Claire was squawking again, trying to hide her embarrassment. Even if she didn't like someone, she gave credit where credit was due. That was another reason why I liked her so much. Miss Claire, what is it? I'm glad you're safe. She turned in a huff and started walking away. What are you dawdling for? Let's go. Yes.
What are you
I followed behind Claire,
for?
happy as I could be. If I were a dog, I would have been wagging my tail. A few days later, after the monster incident, I was sitting in front of Miss Claire. Misha was present too, with an expression of one who didn't want to get involved. Meanwhile, Claire looked like she might never forgive me. And, just what are you going to do with it? Claire demanded. What do you mean? Don't play dumb. She was pointing at Relaire, held in my arms as if she were about to burst with rage. Isn't that a monster? Let's start over. Since I was Claire's maid, I was generally always by her side. This was a huge difference from the game where the harem was normally with Misha, but it was exactly what I'd always dreamed of. So I was quite pleased with the arrangement. The problem was Relaire. Relaire was a baby water slime. All living things have relentless appetites when they are infants. Even human babies have to nurse 10 to 15 times a day. Slimes don't cry until they're adults, but they do quiver with hunger if their stomachs are empty. Relaire was still small enough to fit in the palm of my hand, so I was keeping her in my bag. But she was so mischievous, little love. She didn't have a fixed shape, so she could slip out even if I closed my bag tight. I lost count of how many times she snuck out during lectures in order to tell me she was hungry. Each time I rushed to truck her back into my bag and suspiciously fed her. It might sound like she had me dancing in her tune, but I trained my pets well. I knew exactly how to train water slimes. Thanks to my knowledge of the game, Relaire was gradually learning to wait before she ate her food, as well as to where to relieve herself. Most of the training was done in my own room. I explained the situation to Misha, who was afraid at first, but she soon realized Relaire posed no danger and began to help me out. This was probably why we let our guard down. Hey, peasant! Where did you put my brush? Lena had been looking for it all night! Claire had said as she burst into our room, her eyes laid on Relaire. Miss Claire, as a noble, I would expect you to at least knock. Ugh! Ugh! Gah? The only reason Claire's scream didn't resonate through the dormitory where everyone was sleeping was thanks to Misha's wind magic.
Oh.
And that's where we were now. What are you thinking, bringing a monster into human territory? Valera isn't a monster anymore. She's familiar. Shut up! It's a monster! Have you forgotten what happened a few days ago? The look on Claire's face suggested it was painful to remember. And you, Misha! How could you let this happen? I have no excuse, but Relaire is really sweet. Relaire?
Relaire.
It seems that's her name, Misha told her expressionless.
Misha's just like, it is what it is.
Ray and Claire make Relaire. She's christened for the bond of our love, I declared. Don't make me parent without even asking me. What are you doing?
Don't make me
Huh?
a parent.
It's a good name, right? Think about how I feel with my name being taken by a monster. You're so selfish. Me? What have I done? Claire was squawking again. Please calm down. See for yourself. Isn't she cute? I held Relaire up to Claire. It's not cute. It's a monster. Not really when you look at her this way. Isn't she just adorable? No. You're so selfish. Me? What have I done wrong? It was like we were in a loop. That's enough, Claire fumed. I'll tell Mr. Torrid and he'll get rid of it.
No.
I know, right? Please wait, Miss Claire. I called after her as she turned away. What is it? You can't stop me. Can you please watch us before you decide? I dropped Relaire on the floor. Relaire, stay. Relaire stopped moving and waited. Sit, I said. She got a bit smaller. Lay down. She got even smaller. Turn around. She spun in place. At least I think she did. What do you think? I asked Claire excitedly. Don't look so self-satisfied. I barely did anything at all. Right? Misha agreed. I sighed. If you can't detect these changes, then you're both unqualified. I have no interest in becoming a slime qualified.
I'm slime
Okay,
qualified.
then. Last resort, Relaire. Undine. At my instructions...
Or Undine, I think? I don't know.
It can be anything. I've heard it in games of Undine and Undine,
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm not really sure what the real, well, how you really say it. But it's like
okay.
tomato, I suppose.
Got it.
At my instructions, Relaire shivered and began to change shape. What's happening? Just watch. Little by little, Relaire morphed into a familiar shape, that of a miniature Claire. This is...
A miniature
I
Claire.
know. Undine! Is it a water spirit? Yes! Undine was a water spirit who appeared in the fairy tales and bestowed upon humans the bounty of water. While it was commonly believed spirits were different from monsters, being made of nothing but air, their existence was widely accepted, with even institutions like churches dedicated to their worship.
Oh.
Why does it look like me? Water slimes have a custom imitating appearances of beautiful women. That was only half a lie. It was more true than water slimes and mimic their surroundings in self-defense.
Oh!
Really? Yes! When you put it that way, it does look pretty charming. Claire was now tickling Relaire with her fingers. She was so easy. Right? At this rate, Claire might as well forfeit her title of Villainess. Meanwhile, I could change mine from heroine to Zeroine. Well, fine. I won't have you dispose of it. Thank you. You're so kind, Miss Claire. But you better train it properly, and you need to stop hiding it. You must introduce it to everyone. Claire was talking to me like a mother would a child. Was this what they called motherly instincts?
Oh.
But, she continued, pick a name besides Relaire. Don't use my name without asking. Oh, it's too late now. Too late? Once a familiar recognizes its name, it never forgets it. That's why their names couldn't be changed in the game. Let's keep being good friends, Relaire, I told the slime. I object to that name! I was ready to introduce Relaire to everyone the next day, but ultimately, her namesake stopped me.
Oh.
Come on, really? That's the end of chapter 1.
Wow.
Dude, we're almost like, well, not quite halfway, but yeah.
Do you want to show?
We finally...
Show the amount, I mean? Oh, yeah, we've reached chapter 2. But yeah, that's how much we've read so far.
Yeah, well...
So it's like nearly halfway.
We actually got to chapter 2!
Yay!
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's exciting, honestly.
Yeah. I found the talk quite different about her being gay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, for one, if it's partly the way that it was translated from Japanese.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure, honestly, because I don't even know when this like came out. I could look it up, obviously, see how like long light novels have been out, and then of course they had the anime.
Yeah.
But if I had
Well, I
to
wasn't talking about timing, but I was talking about the way that it was translated might be different.
it could be. I kind of feel like as far as the big talk, and I was actually looking forward to that, I still think it was good, but I do think they did a better job in the anime.
Let me put it.
So that's my 2 cents when it comes to talk, because like when we watched the anime and it was just like, whoa,
Yeah.
and it was still good,
Yeah.
and it was interesting to hear the Ray's thoughts about like, you know, in her actual world and like how people perceive and stuff like that. That was very interesting, because
And I
obviously
think it's quite different from the way that we would talk about things like that in the U.S.
yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
And then of course like her knowing, looking at Lene, so it's just like when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Overall though, like yeah, pretty much everything was the same. I mean, we did have the scene with, you know, Thane and Claire again, and unlike the anime where there was a branch and it got interrupted, it happened and Ray's like, yeah, I'm gonna leave. Yeah, go find Relaire. You know, you're good, Ray. So I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah.
Because obviously in the anime, like Claire heard her and then she walked over to her to make sure she was okay. In this, she didn't find her until later, and she's like, "We have to go back home, right?" So I've been looking for you everywhere. So that's a big difference as well.
Yeah.
I do assume that there will be more differences as well between the light novel and the anime as well, just because.
Yeah.
But so far it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. I really, really do like it. Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting in the talk they were talking about celebrities playing into stereotypes. I was like, that's not something I have often encountered.
I mean, I guess for the world that she's lived in and things she's seen
in Japan.
So I guess, I mean, I don't know if that's actual or not. I could ask some people I know that live there. But I don't know. I thought that was very interesting as well too, but she also did, have that in monologue with herself about like how she's gay, but anytime she's like a girl, it's just never worked out for her, and at this point she's just like laughs it out to protect herself, right? She's just like, yeah, it's so funny, but she's actually hurting. And I do remember we watched the anime and we saw that side of her too, and just like, oh, she's actually hurting though. She has a very tough front with it, so it seems like she's been like rejected a lot, or it's unfortunate. But again, can relate with her, but the whole situation of like your girls that are friends finding out that you're gay, and they're just like, oh, but I'm not, or don't like me like that. It's like, I'm not going to. So
and then being like, why don't you like me like that?
It's so aggravating, dude. I'm not even kidding. When I was like a teenager, I was just like, bro, why? And I asked him, I'm like, why did you hit me? I told you what you wanted to hear because it's true. Well, what's wrong with me? I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, you shouldn't get hit.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, it was like right here. They it's like,
like a friendly smack is what you're saying.
With a little bit more oomph to it.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I unintentionally offended, I guess.
Oh,
just like, well, you don't like me, right? No. Oh, okay. Thanks. That's great. What's wrong with me? There's many answers to that. But first of all, you're straight. I know one time I went into deep dive because it was annoying. I'm like, well, first of all, you're straight. You're not my type. You're a good friend. I would never, ever, ever, because I was tired at that point of saying the same thing. And of course, I got more offensive. Like, listen, I'm telling you the truth, right? And I never quite understand that, because then if you jokingly say you totally are, then they get freak out too, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember one friend of mine, I was just like messing around. Never do this, ever, ever, ever. When one of my friends was like, well, you don't like me. I'm not like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I really do like you though. And that was a very bad thing to do too. But I was a teenager, I was like, what's gonna happen on the other side? I still got hit too. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
So I always, and I ask my friends too. I'm like why do you think I like every girl I look at? Like, 'cause we would go into the gym or whatever, and they would change. I'm like, don't look at me, and I'm like, yeah, I would never. So I go change, and I'm like, dude, you don't like every guy you see, like, I don't understand that. And they're just like, we don't want to catch it. And I'm like, it's not catchable. You either are or you're not.
Right.
But then I started being a little snot and told them if they ate cupcake frosting, they could also turn gay.
Oh,
so
there's that.
But it's like, listen,
Yeah.
if you just need to listen to what I'm telling you, right?
Yeah.
And the whole thing of when you come out and your friend's like, oh, that's cool, but I'm not gay. I'm like, I didn't ask you if you were gay.
Yeah.
So where is this coming from?
Oh!
So of course then Dara's like, are you sure? We weren't talking about you.
You're
Are you
too
sure?
much.
Yeah.
That reminds me too of when I was in college, another college experience, that I had a really cool roommate, and I had a sweet mate that kind of irked me in several ways. She was like very clingy. She was the one who, like, when we walked up, but also like a very clingy downer. And like she's the one who, when we walked up to a door, she would just stand there expecting me to open it for her. There's a lot of things that I like didn't really get along with her on. Just like always had something negative to say is the main thing. And then she would try to like borrow all my stuff, and I'm just like, anyway.
Was she trying to eat your food?
Eat my food? That one she did not do.
Ah.
No, she did not try to eat my food.
But you've had ones that ate your food, right?
Oh, that's annoying. That's very annoying. So anyway, like, we were in the same program and we were working on the same project, and I popped over to chat with her about the project that was due the next day. It was a really big deal, and I pop over and we're talking about it. And like, so we're sweet mates, we're connected by a bathroom, right? So I pop over and we're talking. We both have a lot to say about it. We had classes together is one of the reasons we were around each other.
You.
And lived connected by the bathroom.
Right.
So, she and I are talking, saying a lot about this project we have coming up, and she has to get changed. So I was like, oh, you have to get changed? Okay, I can turn around. So I turned around and faced the other way so that she could change. And, like, she didn't say anything to me, like, anything at all. And then later, my roommate said that she had asked my roommate, right, she was a suite mate.
Okay.
My roommate was cool. She said that she had been asked by the suite mate, do you feel uncomfortable changing around her? My roommate was like, no. She was like, I'm pretty sure I'm not the kind of girl that she's attracted to. And I had a girlfriend, like a long-term girlfriend at that point. So they all knew that. And yeah, they're like way different than she was.
It's so interesting that you mentioned stuff like that, because I remember when I went to go to Anime Boston with one of my friends, and there were a bunch of Wellesley girls. Wellesley's a college up in Boston. And they all changed together. And on me, I'm going to the bathroom like, nope, I'm going to go be respectful. I'm going to the bathroom. And then one of them tries to grab me and pulls me out. And I'm like, what are you doing? I said, that's fine. You can look. I'm like, no, I'm good. I want to go change in there. She's like, no, I want to see you. I'm like, no, I want to go change in there.
Oh. You're like, I need my space.
Yeah, so day one I got to, day two I did not. And because they locked the bathroom, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, why are you so obsessed? Like, we're all girls here. I'm like, yeah, but I like to, change, like,
in
privacy. But no, apparently all girls in Wellesley don't. They all change together, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interestingly, though, a lot of girls apparently go to Wellesley. Not all of them, but could be bi or gay, too. But yeah, I thought that was so funny, because there's like 4 of us. And I'm just like, I've never really, because in school, we would have like little curtains and everything like that. I've never really changed with a bunch of girls, so I was just kind of like in the same space like that. I'm like, this is great. And I remember waking up like the next morning, and they're all like practically half naked, and I'm just like, damn! I would never survive Wellesley! I would never survive Wellesley!
Oh my god.
I woke up and I'm just like, I'm like, oh, good morning. And she's like, I like to walk around naked. I'm like, I see, yep. My friend's like, don't stare. I'm like, I'm trying not to, but she's like literally right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I learned a lot that day. I was like, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was like 19. I was just like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
They're all very pretty girls, by the way. But I'm like being respectful and stuff like that. And
You're so respectful. And that reminds me of New Year's, right? We were hanging out and watching all the stuff on TV for the New Year's.
Yeah.
And this cute K-pop group gets on.
New Jeans.
And they're dancing and doing cute dance moves, and they all look really cute. And I called her over and I was like, hey, do you want to come check this out? I think you'll like them. They're really cute. And some of our family members were like, oh, so you like girls like that, huh? And I was the first to say something, and I was like, it's not like that. She's respectful.
Yeah.
And they kept like making comments like you were like checking them out hard, and it's like you can appreciate cute girls dancing without being like, hey girl, like.
Yeah, but this is me checking them hard. I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, she's like
dancing.
I'm like, this is me checking them out. Like, what? No. It's another thing too. Like, they expect every girl you look at, you check her out. I'm like, no, that's not how that works.
Right?
It's just not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Wellesley girls are very interesting for sure. I was just like, damn. It was like 4 days of that, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. I got like immune at that point. Like, yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
Like, do what you will.
Yeah, sure. Walk around fully naked or half naked, whatever you want to do.
Oh.
And like, it's like, oh, you like what you see, and I'm just like, oh my goodness gracious.
It's not like that.
It's not really. I mean, like I said, they were pretty, but I wasn't trying to date any of them. I was just like, They're like, isn't it a feast for the eyes? And I'm just like, I'm like, what is this? Who talks like this?
Oh my gosh. Who said that to you?
It was my friend's college mate. And
your friend's college roommate?
They call her college mate because they were kind of not in the same room, but they were in the same section at Wellesley. So they call
like
them college
a
mates.
mate?
Kind of, sort of, but that's not what they called them, right?
Oh.
Yeah, and then there was another one with
They're
her.
like, that's not what we call it here.
Apparently, I didn't know it, right?
I'm just kidding.
Right? But yeah, so
I just had never heard that.
Yeah. She was really nice, and obviously, like, completely comfortable, whatever, right? And then there was a couple other girls, you know, there too. But they're just like, oh yeah, I think her name was Kat or something like that. But yeah, she's pretty like a free spirit for sure. You know, so it's just like, okay, all right, well, whatever. You're like, you have to get used to this. You're lesbian. I'm like, oh, sure. Let me immerse myself with a bunch of gay women.
I do think it's just really surprising me about this story that she didn't know that she was gay.
See, that's kind of odd, right? Because the way it is like she does know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, she says she doesn't know, right? But when she's talking about like her inner monologue and stuff like that, she's like, I've been rejected by everyone I've been into, so she knows she only likes girls.
Yeah.
So I think it might just be like the way it's worded, but I still think she does know. She did know. She's just like, you know, probably not wanting to bring it up. You know what? Interesting too. The people that made fun of Ray in the animated happened here. Right, remember how Claire had spilled like hot tea on them or hot something in them in the animated? It happened in the book.
That's true.
So they like made that happen.
Oh.
But it wasn't because Claire cared or anything. She just wanted to, you know, right a wrong that she did.
How
she could
silly
never
of
be
you to
wrong,
think
right?
that it's because she cares.
Exactly. So silly. Yeah, so I thought that was an interesting thing as well. I was like, oh, that's missing too. So it's like, okay, that's not there, 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 that's also not there, that's new.
Yeah, I don't remember them using the word queer as much as they did in the light novel when we watched the anime.
I don't think they did. I think the actual anime said lesbian.
Okay.
Yeah.
At first they said, "Are you gay?"
Yeah. I mean, I'm not 100% like if the dub, but I'm pretty sure the sub said lesbian or gay. I rewatched it.
I know the first question was, "Are you gay?"
Yeah.
That they had asked. I remembered that.
But I do remember talking about lesbians though. Yeah. And this they didn't. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting, right? How it translates. You like you watch the anime and you see it, and then you read the book and you're like, interesting.
That's one of the reasons why I think that it was like a big difference in translation, aside from the fact that they were talking about gay stereotypes and things like that again I think might be quite different in Japan compared to here.
It sounds like it. I've never really thought about that too much, but it's kind of all right.
Right.
Okay then, Ray. There's just things that she knows and she's just sharing them with everyone.
But for me personally, like I don't really call myself queer.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, I call myself bisexual. I think it's a lot more specific, and I do find queer is a lot of times become quite politicized.
Yeah, I agree. I usually use the term lesbian or gay because you know, this is what I am. I can't call myself Yuri, so.
Yeah, which is interesting because I see a lot of people asking like, "Are you queer?" Or also even more common. I got asked this last month, like, "Are you LGBTQ?"
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, that's a whole lot of possibility of what you could be asking me if I am right now.
Yeah.
So I replied and I was like, I'm the B. Like,
yeah.
Because that's, and they did that too when we were watching the girls from Thailand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they ask that way. Are you LGBTQ? I'm LGBTQ. Like
yeah.
they word it like that, and I found that really interesting.
Yeah.
But I like to be pretty specific about what part of the community I am involved in. Yeah, not that I've been honestly that involved in the bi community. I mean, I primarily date women, and obviously I'm married to one now, but like before I would primarily date women anyway, so I often was in lesbian circles. So there's that. Have you been asked those kind of things?
Oh yeah. I kind of almost laugh because I'm like, is it not obvious? I remember one time I was hanging out with some friends or walking down, and there was this girl came up to me, and we were just like in like a mall space.
But you also, people ask you a lot of times if you're trans and things like
That's
that
true.
too.
Yeah, I remember when I was streaming on Twitch, I got asked that a lot too. Yeah. And they're like, oh, your voice keeps cracking. I'm like, damn it.
You're like, this is just how I talk, okay?
But yeah, I would like remember this one girl, and she came up to me and just like, because she liked my tattoo, and she ran over to grab my arm. This is the wonder. By the way, are you gay? And I was like, look at me. I said, do you think there's anything about this is straight? My hair's not even straight. So, you know, I always chuckle when that happens because I don't really mind it so much. Whatever. It's like, if you want to think I'm that, if you want to think I'm straight, you're just really, I don't know, man. But I've had people think that, and they're just like, oh, you're totally straight. I'm like, no, I am not straight.
That being said, we made a new friend who's a gay guy. So we do have, and I have other friends who are gay guys.
Yeah, I've got some gay guy friends.
And I have, like, several, like, my two closest friends are trans. Well, I wouldn't say two of my closest friends are trans. So, I mean, it's not that we're, like, separate from the rest of the community, but it's just, like, I think for me, I prefer to be clear about what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, when
Yeah.
someone asked me that one time, "Are you LGBTQ plus?" and I'm like, I blinked a few times. I'm like, what? Like, I can't. That's not possible for me to be all those things.
Right.
So I said, I'm the L. I'm like, and then I got, you're a loser, and I'm like, no.
That's so rude.
I said, I'm a lesbian. I need a shirt that just says that. I guarantee you, though, I'd still get asked that same question, even if I had a shirt that says, I'm a lesbian.
Right.
You know? Like, seriously? Oh, man. Yeah, I know this one dude was, like, trying to whatever, and he's like, oh, but you don't, he's like, girls. I'm like, dude, girls are awesome, and you can't argue. When a guy hits on you, and if you say girls are awesome, usually they back off, right? The other thing they do is if they ask you, well, you've never been with a guy, and you ask them if they've been with a guy, and that also gets them to be like, what, why'd you ask me that, man? I'm like, you just asked me, man! He's like, oh! I'm like, exactly! So, yeah, it's just kind of funny. That's another one that works, too. But most of the time, they'll be like, I play for the same field as you do! They play same team!
Right.
And they're like, oh, but you're a gamer. I'm like, I'm a gamer.
Yeah. That being said, one of my closest friends puts on queer events and goes to like queer coffee hour and stuff like that. And so if someone says something like they call me queer or something like that, I'm not going to correct them.
Yeah.
But if they start using that word for me consistently over time, I'll tell them that I prefer to be called bisexual.
Yeah.
But then he like, first when I told him, like, hey, you know, I don't really use the word queer that often, he thought that I was talking about the fact that it was used as a slur. He's like, oh, yeah, I know, it can be kind of hard to hear that. And I was like, no, that's not really why. Even though there is that history of it being that. And so he goes, oh, I'll try not to use that word in front of you as much. And I was like, it's fine if you're talking about, like, a queer event, because that's what it's called.
Yeah.
You know, the event is called queer event, or the coffee hour is called queer coffee hour.
Right.
Like, those kind of things I'm not, like, trying to get him to not say.
Right.
It's just that that's how I prefer to be referred to.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's totally cool in that way, you know. Yeah, so I'm just blinking back all the people that are like, you're straight, like, you so funny.
Yeah.
You're so funny. I was like, well, you're a gamer, and I'm just like, what does that have to do with anything? That's a big thing too. And I'm like, I'm not.
They're
all
saying
girls
that because they're coming from their own mindset.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So their own mindset and preferences, and they're saying like, I think this is what I think is happening. They're like, I wish that I had a chance with you because you're really cool and a gamer.
Well, that's why I've lost.
That's what I think.
Yeah,
that
I
they're
can see
saying
that.
there.
And unfortunately,
when they say, but you're a gamer,
yeah,
when you told them
that's
that.
true.
They're saying, oh, but this, which means that I wish that you were available to me in a romantic / something else, not quite so romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah, situation.
It's unfortunate too, because I had a lot of like really awesome guy friends like growing up, and unfortunately we've just like stopped being friends because like, oh, I like you, and I'm like, that's cool, you can like me, I can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't hang around you. It's just like, hang around me. I
Oh.
can't do much about that, you know. I had this one guy that I was on MSN Messenger, and that's like ages ago.
Yeah.
And I would just, you know, you're on chat, and then you just have to disappear. Something happens, right?
Yeah.
Well, it finally got to a point where he's like, I just can't be friends anymore because you just go away and don't tell me all the time. And I'm just like, blink, blink. I've known this dude for years, and I'm just like, really? Like, are you serious, boy? So yeah, unfortunately, I've known him for about like 8+ years, and I'm just like, well, what can you do? Yeah, I met him in Final Fantasy 11. He was a really cool dude, but he's like, I'm like, but things happen. I can't see you BRB every time, right? You know, but it's just got that. I just don't know if you're okay, and I'm like, bro, calm down. Good gravy.
It's getting dark.
It's getting dark.
Do you want to put the light on, and so we can wrap this up? Is it coming on?
Ah! It's kind of like slouching.
There you go. It looks better, but I don't know if it's gonna stay there.
Stay.
Yep, it will, maybe. Anything else you want to say to wrap this?
I'm gonna be into chapter 2. I'm so excited.
Chapter 2, and then we're almost halfway through.
I know.
Yeah, which means, let's see, there's 3 books.
No, there's not. Isn't there 5?
There's 5?
I think there's 5 light novels.
Let me look it up. I thought there were 3.
I thought there was 5.
Let's see.
I think that maybe I'm wrong. Let's see.
Light novel. Here we go. Let me put how many are there.
Yeah, because it'll be like, I'm pretty sure there's 5.
Many books. Oh, it does look like there are 5.
Hey!
It does look like, maybe I was reading something about this earlier.
Hey!
And it might have been old information.
There's 5.
Okay, that's fine. So I was reading an article about this earlier, and it might have been an older article that said 3.
Okay.
Yeah, it did say 3.
Okay.
What I read earlier.
Just little victories. Just little ones.
You what? Victories?
Little victories.
Oh,
Just
okay.
little ones.
Yeah, I'm done gloating now.
Yeah!
Dang.
Woo! Aha! Sundere! Sundere!
Oh my god.
I do be like that sometimes.
Alright, you all. Thank you so much for watching, and if you've enjoyed watching this video, we'll have all of the videos that we made in a playlist together pop up on the screen, so you can make sure you watch all of them, and we look forward to connecting with you again soon. We'll be sending so much love. Till next time.
Laters!